Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to check out something new from Sub250. This is the OasisFly 4S little DJI O3 Ripper. It is pretty small, pretty compact, and our friend over at UAV Futures says that this one is a game changer. So I'm interested to see if this pretty cool looking little quad lives up to the hype. We're going to take it out today. We're going to flight test it and see what this is all about. I've got a 4S 720 milliamp on there, so I'm wondering if this is going to rip. It is a Squash X configuration as well. I'll put the link down below, and just to let you know, affiliate links are not a bad thing in the hobby because it keeps these channels going. And if you want to help the video climb in the ranks, just smash the like button, because YouTube hates FPV these days. I swear they do. And just to give a shout out to my guy over at UAV Futures too. Like, they were talking about a new website they're releasing to help you guys understand flight controllers. I may do a video on that coming up and how it can help you in your builds. And we've wanted tools like this for years, and apparently there's no affiliate links on that website. I will share it with you sometime. And I just want to say I support projects like that if it helps the community. And I think what UAV Futures is doing is helping the community. I think it's great. Any efforts into our hobby right now, especially with the way the world is, are much needed and appreciated. So I do appreciate that project, and I'd like to see it flourish. So I support it, but I also support things that rip. So let's go outside now and let's check out this OasisFly. Let me see if it lives up to the hype. Here we go. All right, guys, let's take a ride and see what this hype's all about. Here we go. Just gonna go out in the field a little bit here, get some distance. Check my battery voltage. I'm using that stock battery. That was nice. See a little bit of vibration up high. This is where you can really see vibes. So I'll say, I think the tune is probably about 70, maybe 60%, because I do see some jello in my view. I mean, we'll try out some freestyle stuff too, see how it's handling there, but it's definitely doing some tree exploration. That was fun. So I think it has potential to be fun. I think it needs a little bit better tune on it though. And sometimes, you can try a different prop and that'll clear up any of the vibes. But it will dive like a champ. I feel comfortable in here in the bushes too, because this is kind of a no-win situation in here. Because you guys know there's blackberries down here. There's about 6 foot of blackberries below the quad right there. Not where I want to be going today with flip-flops. So how are you guys doing? What are you guys flying recently? Make some comments down below. There's a little bit of kind of jaunt when I went upside down, like a little bit of left to right. So is it perfect? No. Do I like the way it flies with the tune? I think it could be smoother with the tune, but I do like the maneuverability of this on 4S. Seems to be good. It's responsive. It's kind of what I expected. I mean, honestly, at this size, this weight, with this power system on here, yeah. You can do stuff super low, or you can go big. Let's try a punch out. So I'm going to check my voltage over here just before we do that punch out. see where we're at. Just having a hard time seeing the bottom of my goggles. I'm at 14.7 here, so I'm gonna back off that throttle. Just go full throttle up. Look at that, my battery is starting to blink. So, I mean, it's not bad for how small it is. I expected more, honestly. I'm hard to impress, you guys. I am hard to impress. I may be a little biased here about just what I've flown in the past. There's a bunch of lines in there. A bunch of blackberries. So I'm almost at 4 minutes, and right now I'm down to 14.5 volts. So I could go for a little bit longer. So, you know, I think we'll get probably just above 4 minutes with a 750 milliamp. That's not too bad. And we have been kind of doing some flips, some punch outs. When you do high throttle, you can't expect to be, I don't know what I was doing right there. I'm just playing around. So I'm at 420, still at 14.3 volt, running about 50% throttle right now. Yeah, I think it could use some different props on here, since we're doing an honest review. So you guys know so far in this honest review that it needs definitely a little bit of work on the tune. It could use probably a different prop. It's nimble as all hell. I mean, look at that direction change, that yaw. She's definitely snappy, which, again, with this motor power combo, it's good. Lots of control down low. I'm at 14 volt right there. I could come back by 13.8, 13.9. You won't be back at the home point by the time you hit 13.8 because it will probably drop to the ground lower than 13.8, depending on the battery. So right now we're at 5 minutes and 15 seconds. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna land, and I got a flashing OSD. Let's go back to the bench and talk about it. All right, guys, welcome back to the bench. There she is on the scale, 178.2 grams without a battery. With their suggested 4S 720 milliamp HV battery, we're looking at 209.7 grams total takeoff weight. This is the box that you get, and you can actually get this one without the O3 on board and without a receiver. If you want to do that, it'll cost you $179 for quad without VTX and receiver. You can add your own, which is cool. So if you want to fly this analog, you have the option to do that. When you add TBS Nano RX on board with the O3, it's $445. With ELRS and the O3, it's going to get you down to around $426.99. But it is a cool looking quad. I do have some things to talk about in this review if we want to be honest about it, and you guys will hear that. One of the things that I want to talk about first up is the O3 installation, because I know that some of you guys are probably going to be dealing with that. The port plugs into the back. I did not get a cable that came off of the flight controller, the HD flight controller, to my O3, which I was disappointed of. So I had to go and search for my own. One that I sourced was too short because it does have to go from here all the way back to here. So you're going to have a good standardized O3 cable to make this transition from here to there. One of the other things was that once I ran the cable under, and my cable had to go under, it couldn't go over because it was too short, but I had to strap it down with a zip tie and some VHB right here to make this work. So I wasn't able to get the screws up there. I didn't want to press on this harness wire too much in here to do that. So they also give options for dipoles coming out the back or receiver RX antennas, and you also can do the singular dual antenna, which is coming from the O3 here. I decided to do the singular dual because I thought it looked cooler. And we also have some 2.2 inch props. These are a little bit wide chord in my opinion, for this particular quad. I think if there were a little bit thinner cord in the center of this prop, that maybe would have had less vibes in the video. And you know, judging from the Rocksteady 2.0 smoothing on the 03, you probably didn't see as much vibrations in the video as if you were looking at my goggles. And right now I haven't edited this video, so I want to try to include some of that footage in there. So from the goggles, hopefully it recorded down. If not, you won't see it in that bit of footage. But we do also have some good kind of aluminum shielding up here for the camera. The front end sticks out just a little bit right here, but that's really just the sunshade on the top and the bottom for glare. It has no USB port on it, so it is another one of those flight controllers that I've seen recently from companies using the wire harness to USB-C adapter right here. So you plug this into the front side of the board just behind the camera right there, and you're able to hook up to Betaflight. One other thing is that it does have 35 amp BL Heli 32 ESCs, and we all know right now that BL Heli 32 cannot be updated anymore, but it does fly the way it is. Sub250 was kind enough to send me their ceramic antenna ELRS receiver, but I decided to use my full-size TBS Crossfire antenna on the back instead of using the ceramic one. I've had just a little bit better luck with these longer range type of antennas for flying a little bit of distance. So let me show you the power system on here outside the 35 amp BL Heli 32 ESCs. These are branded Sub250 brushless motors rated up to 4S. I don't know that these can do 6S, so I probably wouldn't try it. They are 1404 series motors, which is pretty much what we see for this size and battery configuration. They are 4500 kV, which is nice. Good power to these. The power rate to ratio probably 10 to 1, and especially with this wider chord prop, you get a lot more boost with this prop. But also I was seeing some vibrations in my video from the goggles, so that's one thing to be said there. There are TPU bumpers on the bottom which protect the motor arms just underneath the motor, which is kind of nice on the outside. 4 bolts that needed to be tightened up. When I pulled it out of the box, the motors had this strange, when I moved the motor, they wobbled really easily. So that's not a good thing for a test flight. Once I tightened everything up and I made sure these wires were not touching underneath the bell to the motor, you want to make sure that when you are putting your motor, your bolts up through, that they're not touching any copper wires underneath this bell. You will short out the motor. Now on top, each propeller has an M2 bolt going through the top right there into the motor. And I could see some blue anodized aluminum there on the top of that bell. Some pretty nice bases on them as well. And some pretty sharp looking motor. And this frame wheelbase is 135 millimeter from motor to motor. It is a Squash X design. Front to back, old school, what I call the truck bed design on the center of this frame. And it's pretty easy to get a pretty large battery on there. I think you could get even something as large as like an 1100 milliamp battery on there. Might be pushing it, but they do recommend up to about 750. But sometimes I find that the recommended weight can be kind of increased a little bit. And since this is an honest review, we could talk about some thicknesses on this frame. This frame is made to be ultra light, but it is also meant to be somewhat of a freestyler more than it is a cruiser. So with freestyle, you want to be able to have some durability with this quad. The top plate is 2 millimeters. The upper bottom plate is 2.5 millimeters, a little thicker, and the arm thickness, even though I wish it was 3 mil, they are 2.5 mil. So I do see that these arms do have a little bit of movement to them, and that worries me on a hard crash that you might break one of these arms. But it does appear that they can be replaced by removing these 3 bolts right here, and you can pull this arm out, put a new one in there. But I did want you to know that these are 2.5 arm thickness, which seems like they could have gone 3 on this and it would have gave you just a little more durability. So I believe that's a little bit thin in my opinion. Sub250 also put the cable up front for the battery. The XT30 cable is up front right here, so it just kind of bends around. It's easy to plug in. And we also have the option to add a camera mount on the front. This is the micro cam mount. It's not for a full-size GoPro, but it will accommodate something like a decased GoPro, or maybe even one of the Insta360 cameras up here. Now, one of the values of this particular quad, I think, is all the extras that you get in the box. You do get a camera mount. You get this camera mount dampener, which I didn't put on there. It goes underneath this and kind of goes back into the frame just to give your camera a little more dampening. You get lots of extra hardware. You do get two extra posts as well, which is nice. You get 2 sets of stickers, logo stickers, and some different quad stickers. And I also got 2 batteries, so I want to say thanks for sending me out the 2 4S 720 milliamp batteries. And they also sent me this cool strap for my goggles too. They fit right onto the goggles too. They don't fit on the goggles 3, if you're wondering, but they are much more comfortable than that original kind of strappy DJI strap. I was never a fan of this. It seems like it was created by non-FPV pilots. I mean, there's just a whole bunch of stuff going on back here that we don't need. Typically, we have adjustments on the side right here, or a slide is really all you need to make a proper adjustment. And then you have much more comfort back here on the back of your head. They also sent me a neck strap, which is cool, so I hooked that up to my transmitter when I was flying this. So I think overall there's some good value in what you get, I mean, always with Sub250 stuff. Okay, so let's get down to the last honest comments that I can make about the Sub250 OasisFly 25. 2.5 inch squashed. You can do an 03 or analog, or maybe even squeeze some walk snail avatar in here, which would be cool. It does accommodate the 03 camera, and it seems to be quite sturdy through the center of the frame. I wish the arms were a little thicker. I wish the tune was a little bit better. I kind of wish the XT30 was in the back, because you know, once you put a camera on here, you're going to have kind of some things squashed in here when you start tilting things back, and it's going to make it a little harder to plug in with a GoPro up front, a decased GoPro. So that's something there. It's also going to shorten up your bed length here. If you're running one of these batteries that are the 750s that they sent me, that you can see this battery takes up, you know, just about the whole thing. But I think that'll be accommodating right there. We have another, it looks like a little over a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch right here. So I think that would work out, and you can still go back even a little bit further here toward the antenna. So yeah, it can hang off just a little bit. So plenty of room there for a decased GoPro with that truck bed. And Squashed X does perform quite well. It's nimble, it's fast, it's punchy. It does have vibrations in the tune for these particular props, and my suggestion for that is make sure that all your motors are nice and tight before you do your first flight, and try to find some other 2.5 inch props with these 2 M2 bolts through. Try those out. Switch out the props on this from the ones that it comes with, and I think you'll have a better flying quad. Look for something a little thinner cord than what they have here. So that would be my biggest suggestion there. And I'll try to make a PID tune, a custom Drone Camps PID tune for this, because I do a lot of PID tuning here on my channel. And I give those out to the community for free right now. So when I do PID tune this one, I will give it to you for free and make yours fly better. So I'm going to be working on this one in the next couple weeks. So give me some time there, and I'll try to provide that back to the community. But again, I appreciate you guys for watching. And again, 4.2 stars out of 5. It's almost perfect, but not quite. Still needs maybe a little bit of work. But do I think it's worth owning? Yeah, I do. I think it's awesome that it fits in the palm of my hand. It's under 250 grams. And with the way the world's going right now, it seems like a lot of things are going to be under 250 grams. And I think Sub250 is smart to build a company around the idea of Sub250, because a lot of us in different parts of the world, we need something Sub250. And it's just fun to fly small stuff too. Really fun. But it feels like a 5 inch crammed down into a tiny little package of a 2.5 inch little 4S Ripper. This thing would be insane on 6S. My God, it would be through the roof. But it is a 4S quad, and I believe the motors are rated for 4S. So don't try 6S. You might fry some stuff. 45 amp version of this might actually handle 6S, but
Again, I appreciate you for watching. Stay tuned for more drone news and reviews coming up, and I will show you what's new on the channel on the next one. Take care, guys.